Dealer, what's it like to open SummerSlam at MSG?
It is one of the coolest things in the world because we were told all week long the importance of this pay-per-view. Like, this is the most important pay-per-view in the company's history at this time. And as two young guys, we're told we're gonna get 20 minutes to go out there and go tell our story. And the fact that we were honored enough to have that much time given to us to open this show meant they trusted us, they believed in us, and we were foundation builders on what the company was going to become. And it was just, you walk out in the Garden, man, it's something special. Like, you don't just I'm not wrestling Val Venis. I'm wrestling everyone else who's been in the Garden. I'm wrestling, Hulk Hogan and Iron Sheik and Bob Backlund and Pedro Morales and I'm wrestling Mike Tyson, and I'm wrestling the New York Knicks, and I'm wrestling the New York Rangers. I'm wrestling everything that's been in the Garden, and it's pretty awesome.
You got you and Val. You're the heel in this scenario. Val's the baby face. For those of you who don't understand how that works, D'Lo, who is putting the match together in the back with you, and who's calling it in the ring?
On this occasion, our agent was Pat Patterson. So he helped us put this match together a couple of days out. And in the ring, Val and I are talking back and forth because we're both young and we've both known each other for a couple of years because we were in Puerto Rico together. So there's really no leader in this per se, because we both know the match and we're both talking to each other.
You got you running away, playing the chicken shit heel. Was this a scenario where you enjoyed being the chicken shit?
Oh, yeah, because I enjoyed being a heel. Like, for those who know me, being a heel is so polar opposite of who I am as a person. I embraced and enjoyed being that bad guy because I'm not that bad guy in real life. So I loved running. I loved being the arrogant ass, if you will. And so I took a lot of pride in being a heel.
Pat Patterson, you said, was the agent to put this together. When it's you three sitting in the back, how does that process work? Is it you two running through the match with Pat throwing out spots or ideas? How did it all work?
It's a weird combination of a little of both. Pat will come to us with the idea of what we need to do, what we need to accomplish, what we call the story of the match. So what do we need to do for the end of the day? Who's going over, and what story we need to tell? And then Val and I will get together and start talking, and Pat will chime in a little. He'll throw in, because he's not trying to give you all the answers to the test. He's trying to lead you down the pathway to get the right answer. So he's listening to our feedback, and when it feels like we're stuck or fumbling, Pat will chime in, because he's teaching us the whole time his philosophy and psychology of how to build a match.
It's obvious so far that the goal of this story is to lay out the fact that you have the chest protector, and the goal is to show all the strengths that you have and advantages over Val with using the chest protector. When you think about putting something together like this, that you're going 20 minutes, how important is the first 2 to 3 minutes of that match?
It's the foundation. It is the most important thing. You can't build this match unless you have a strong foundation. And those first several minutes of the match are building everything, building the platform so you can start building the walls that are the middle part of the match. So this is the beginning of this match. The first 5 minutes is the tone setter, and it lays down the story we're going to tell for the remainder of the match.
That eye poke there, it's a cutoff. And now we're going to switch to you laying in the heat. For those of our listening audience who are very smart, what is a cutoff and what is the heat?
Cutoff is when particularly one person, i.e. the babyface, has got some momentum and he's flowing. And then the cutoff is when the bad guy stops the momentum of the babyface. And then the heat is when the bad guy is now beating on the babyface and causing heat with the crowd. So that's the cutoff in the babyface, and there's, Val gives me that big spine buster, and that hurt because that ring was stiff back then.
That was going to be my next question. There's not a lot of bounce there. There's not a lot of give there.
No, the rings would transition over a little bit later on. Oh, and there's Edge in the background. making his first debut. But the rings would transition over later on from the old Hulk Hogan sturdy rings to the rings that are used in modern day with WWE.
The rumor and innuendo has always been that Hell in a Cell in 1998 kind of sped up the process when Mick Foley got thrown through the cage and landed. But there's also been rumor and innuendo that when Vince McMahon started taking bumps and realized how hard exactly the ring is, was the beginning of that transition. What do you think was the impetus to that?
Two things can be true simultaneously, and I will give you credit to both of them. Yes, Mick falling from 15 feet up on the cage with no protection whatsoever showed the inherent danger of falling from high heights, obviously. And then Vince, for years he'd been telling guys to go out there and take these bumps and do this and do that. And finally, when he started taking bumps, it's amazing how fast the ring changed. So two things can be true simultaneously.
You just picked Val up for a body slam and you're going to drop the leg. How hard was it to drop a leg on this ring?
I can still feel it in my spine right now. For those who don't know, and look, a lot of people think our rings are trampolines. No, that is basically a glorified stage. And it is hard as a stage. It's sturdy. And so when you drop stuff there, you shock your whole spine. Like the sky high and the leg drop hurt my back so much in later years because of repetitive dropping in this hard ass ring.
When you think about the idea that you are the powerhouse in this match compared to Val, and your goal is to wear him down, you're going for a lot of pin attempts. I think there's been a change in the business to where that's not really a thing anymore. Here comes that Bret Hart elbow off the middle rope. Could not feel good on your knees either. Why do you think
that hurt?
Yeah. Why do you think pin attempts have kind of scaled back in recent years in wrestling?
I think the psychology has gone away where that used to be pin attempts were a way of, the story was it was gauging how tired your opponent was, and it was making him exert energy that he didn't have to, kicking out repeatedly. I feel that the business has moved in a way where that is not the psychology anymore. Repeated pin attempts are lessening the moves you do. So it's just a psychological change in way matches are built these days.
Do you think it's something that can be reinstituted and make more sense, or do you think it's gone by the wayside?
I wish it would come back, because the only way to beat somebody is to put him on his back, and the only way to know how you can beat somebody to put him on his back is to put him on his back. So, I mean, to me, it's normal psychology, and to me, it feels like that's how you gauge how your opponent is, and that's how you also train the people that if he kicks out at a 1 count, he's real strong. If he kicks out at a 2 count, he's getting weaker. If he kicks out at a 2.5 count, you almost got him beat. I like that, subliminal message. That's the senton off the big back bump on that. Yeah, no, not good. Yeah, not good. Yeah, right there. That's an intentional break, by the way. We knew building this match, I needed about 30 seconds after this.
People may not realize what this is called, but this is called a double down in professional wrestling, where both guys are down and the referee is counting. It's to have the illusion that everyone is worn out, but most of the time it's not really an illusion, is it? It's
just to catch your breath. It's just to get ready, because as you see here, we're starting to run here, so that big bump, I need to catch my breath, because now tempo is going. You can even see when I took that elbow, I was still a little hesitant of taking the bump.
It's when we are at the 11-minute mark, so we're about 9 minutes into the match, you're starting to feel this at this point in the hot lights over the crowd, and you guys are working up a sweat, and you still got a half a time left. Where are you at in terms of you keeping track of where you're at in the match?
Oh, I know exactly where we are. We're literally because there's the big sit down power, out of the corner. Yep. That's our halfway mark right there. As we're building it, we knew that was going to be our halfway point. So as we're in our mind building time, we knew that was our moment where that's the big double down. That's like get everybody back in. And if you can hear, I think the crowd is chanting D'Lo sucks and chanting D'Lo at the same time. So it's pretty cool. But we knew this was a moment where we wanted to let everyone kind of feel what we were doing.
What a near fall there with Jimmy Corderas counting that and him coming up looking like, he is shocked that Val kicked out. That's your first false finish. Is that correct?
Yes, that's the first really false finish I went to. And that was about 10 minutes in, because you're about halfway. You want to get the illusion that maybe we're winding down. So the more pin attempts, you think we're getting closer to the end.
You and Val worked together a lot. What a great bump that is off that DDT, by the way. What a tremendous bump. That
spike bump he takes off the DDT, he took it, and he only breaks it out every now and then, but it was one of the greatest. There's nothing better than that.
Yeah. That bump is I'm not going to kill that illusion, but that bump is one of the harder bumps to take when you're trying to time it, because the control of it starts with you and the landing ends with him. So it is not easy to time that correctly. But you guys are about to take a big ride coming off the top rope here. Were you? Yeah. You're taking a lot of bumps here, and so is Val. Was that a concerted effort for you guys to make sure that this is how you're starting off?
That was my thing. I always took bumps. And I was that power slam there. You can see I was actually going to climb to the top rope and take it. And I was like, nah, F that. I'm going to the second rope. I called the audible there. I was like, no.
One of the nuances that I enjoy, because I was a referee for a long time, is seeing how the Northeast referees count it. And it was always a conversation. I tried to learn from Earl Hebner and Mike Chioda as much as possible, Jimmy Corderas. They had to speed up as the match went on. And as more false finishes, their counts quickened, where Atlanta, WCW, did not have that mentality. Nick Patrick and Randy Anderson were very concise with their counts. They were very similar. It didn't matter, false finish, high finish, at the actual finish. How much drama do you think a good referee can lead to a match?
People don't understand, in my opinion, the referee might, in fact, be the most important person in the match, because he's my connection to the back. Not to go too inside baseball, but he's my connection in the back. I'm asking him questions like, where are we at in time? I'm asking him questions like, what do you think the people are doing? How do you think they're feeling? I'm asking Val the same stuff. So he's giving me that third party perspective. And yes, when you get a referee that his counts are in rhythm with the match and they accelerate in a good way with the match, it adds to the match. Just as the exact same thing, a bad referee can make a great match really bad. He can take away from a match. So I think a good referee is paramount.
We got you in the corner getting ready what looks like to be a running power bomb with Val. You and Val worked together a lot.
Yeah. Our time was a little off there. And I was going to move on, and Val goes, do it again. I went, okay.
When you're in the corner and you're feeling it, you and Val worked together a lot in your careers before WWF and then in the WWF. What did you think of Val as a worker?
As a worker, in Puerto Rico, Val and I were there at the same time, and I thought Val was going to be the one to get called up first to go to Puerto Rico, because I thought he was such a good and talented worker. I thought he was far more advanced than I was at the time. And it worked out opposite, where I got called up first, and then he came up several months later. But as inside the ring, there was very few who could work on the level of Sean Morley.
Sean Morley was a big star in Mexico. I don't know that a lot of people still realize that 30 years ago. Steel in Mexico was a big deal. Transitioning from Mexico, transitioning from Puerto Rico to the American style, it's not easy, and it takes a really good worker to be able to work all those styles, does it not?
Absolutely, because you might not realize that. Well, you do realize that in Mexico, they work backwards compared to the American style. So as I grab stuff with the left side, they'll grab stuff with the right side. So they have the ability to transition back and forth. And to understand what that's like, if you're right-handed, imagine trying to write left-handed and trying to write with the same clarity and penmanship as your right hand. That's the difference of working in Mexico and the United States.
This chest protector spot is one of my favorites, because This feels like a Pat Patterson gimmick to me. Am I right about that?
This is totally a Pat Patterson gimmick.
So Val takes the chest protector. The referee tries to stop him, even though that kind of doesn't make sense because you're wearing it. So why is he stopping him? But then Jimmy Corderas gets shoved into the ropes and Val gets crotched. Better him than you.
Much better him than me. This was the only part of this match that Val and I did not like. Right here, the DQ.
Yeah.
I told Pat, and this is as my witness, you can ask Val this. I said, Pat, I would rather lose than to have a DQ. I would rather get beat right here, clean the middle, flip the belt than a DQ because I thought the DQ would be very flat. And it was blah. We had this banger and it ended blah.
Yeah, you guys were rolling, and then all of a sudden it just kind of
and it ends. And that's the only negative thing. It ends, and I literally said I'd rather get beat. And case in point, the next night on Raw, we had a rematch, and I beat Val clean in the middle.
Yeah, why couldn't that have been the pay-per-view?
And if that was the pay-per-view, I would have rather cheated and won in the middle than to have a DQ like that, because I think we were having this banger, and it just fell flat.
How much of a finish when you're told you're finished that you disagree with, that you attempt to go, come on, let's do it this way, let's do it that way? And does Pat even go and fight for it, or is Pat going, this is what the boss said?
It depends on your status in the company. Both Val and I were very young, so it's just shut up, boys, and do what we tell you. Okay, your complaint is registered. I understand, and you might be right, but this is what needs to be done.
Is this match with Val one of your top 5 matches?
It's easily in my top 3.
Wow.
And I only say that because interspliced are 2 other matches with X-Pac. So, but this is my favorite match that does not involve X-Pac.
What is the feedback when you walk through the curtain? Is Pat happy? Is Vince happy? Is Bruce happy? Who talks to you?
Everybody. Vince, he'll give you the eyeglasses like this, and he'll give you the thumbs up. So, because Vince is producing the next match that's going in the ring, so He doesn't have time to talk. Bruce is there. He'll give you the thumbs up because he's running music and timing, so he can't talk. And then Pat's there because he's called the match to the truck. He's there. He'll give you the instant feedback. Great. People loved it. Did you hear the people? As Pat would say, they want banana. They love you. They want banana. So Pat is giving you the instant feedback, and then you walk through the secondary curtain that quarters off the boys from the gorilla. And back then we didn't have the huge office gorilla they've got now. We had a curtain. You went into an opening, and there was a curtain to go to the ring. You walk through that curtain, and there are the boys. And for me, it was Ron Simmons who was right there going, "That's my boy," and he's clapping me up, going, That's how you go out there and you open the show. And the boys are G'ing you up because they see the work you did. Right. And what we did there was called a tone center. We set the tone for the rest of the night. And this went on to be considered one of the greatest pay-per-views of WWE's history. And Val and I set the tone for that night. So everyone, it was, now guys, go top this.